What's going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Chris Adams.
And I'm Robert Adams.
And today we have a special review for you for Avengers Endgame. And we have a special honorary Cinefanatic joining us today. This is Aaron Alba.
Hi, my name's Aaron. I love you.
He loves our audience just like we do. Guys, we had to have a third person on this one because this is a huge movie to talk about.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible for us both to just remember every single bit of that movie that we just got out of seeing.
So much. Sure.
I mean, we're still in the process of processing it.
Yeah. So that being said, we're going to do this review a little bit differently than our other reviews. Typically, we go straight, no spoiler for all of our reviews. For this one...
But you're going to see this movie anyways, regardless of no matter what we say.
You're going to see this movie. So we're just going to do a brief little bit, no spoiler, right off the top, so you can get the idea of what our thoughts are on this movie. And then we'll go into kind of the details, the actual spoilers, the meat of it. So that way, if you haven't watched the movie yet, you can turn off the video and come back later.
So, diving into the non-spoiler part of this review... Did you like the movie?
It was fantastic.
Aaron, did you like this movie?
It was an experience that I'll never forget. I loved it.
I absolutely love this movie as well. This covers our non-spoiler review part of this video. Now let's talk about spoilers. Actually, let's give everyone a second. If you happen to be listening to this while you're busy cleaning the house or doing something, we'll give you a little bit to quickly get over to the computer to stop this from playing. About 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay. We know that non-spoiler section was very short, but if you're still with us, we are talking about spoilers now. So there's so much fair warning here. Yes. This movie is hugely epic.
Yeah.
This movie is officially in the Merriam-Webster dictionary under the word epic. Epic, noun, or verb, or adverb, whatever words are. Words.
All words.
And
every word.
every word. Under epic, it says Avengers Endgame. That's how it's listed.
My choice of word was satisfying, because I feel like this was a satisfying conclusion to everything they've been building up.
Yeah, I think my word was rebirth, because I feel like I died and came back to life while watching this movie.
Well, you just got deep there.
Yeah.
Okay. So
the setup is that you have the first 2 hours or so of the movie is kind of like the time heist that Ant-Man was saying. It's we got to go back in time, we got to try to pull, and there's just so much even in there. The fact that they were running back to the first Avengers movie, Thor: Dark World,
and I kind of we already knew this from the set photos from a long time ago. We knew they were going to do some kind of a time travel story, so I'm glad to see that that's what they actually did, and it worked.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a lot of fun. Just that section of the movie, it's I have no idea where this is going, how they're going to get through this, and it's the benefit of the marketing for this movie, how they didn't show really anything in the trailers.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting here wondering, how is this going to play out while you're watching the movie? And I love that. I love having that being on the edge of my seat, being given to me and not taken away.
For sure.
Or that it really was, and we heard it before, that everything shown in the trailers was the first 20 minutes of the movie, which for the most part that's true.
Yeah.
There was a couple other stuff that was still maybe about an hour into the movie or so, but most everything shown in the trailers was the first 20 minutes of the movie.
And there's a couple really brief shots that were in the climax, but that's, for the most part, yeah. The marketing, fantastic.
They played it perfectly.
What was your, favorite part of it?
Oh, the entire movie, spoilers included?
Oh, yes.
I think it was when, Pepper looked at Tony and was like, hey, you can rest now, we're going to be okay.
Ooh.
And I think that was the biggest part for me, because it was hey, you kind of kicked off this entire franchise, and you, the one that kind of was just carried the weight of a lot of this.
Yeah.
And you were really hurt by Captain America through Civil War and everything, and you were jaded, but you sacrificed everything, and kind of culminated the whole him and his dad moment, where it was I always had a problem being sacrificial. And in that moment, it was like, hey, we're going to be okay because you sacrificed yourself. And I was like, all right, why am I crying? I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah, well, everyone was crying.
Yeah. I don't know about, like, he didn't see it the same time me and Chris saw it, but
he's about 15 minutes off.
Yeah,
different theaters.
I don't know, in your theater, did you hear a lot of people in darkness?
The whole time.
Yeah, it was like sniffling the
Yeah.
entire time, like Tony is like dying basically, and everyone's crying. Like, it was just extremely meaningful.
Yeah, I heard so many people.
Yeah, there was a lot of whimpering and crying. Don't do that. You make ugly face when you cry.
Well, to be fair, I was making a little bit of an ugly face during that scene. I was tearing up a little bit myself.
And I was crying.
But I mean, that brings it up, like, honestly, like, the send-off that they had for some of these characters, because you knew, we know in the real world, contracts are up. Some of these actors, they're done. They can't, they're not going to continue on.
Like Chris Evans had officially already come out saying, all right, goodbye, everybody, I'm done.
Yeah.
When we're like, okay, spoilers? Like, something's going to happen to your character in this movie, we know now, so, I mean, way to give that away.
Yeah, so, you had to send off Cap, you had to send off Tony, you had to send off Thor, Hulk, I don't know, like the original ones, you had to send all of them off.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
And I feel like they gave a fitting conclusion to them, like, I mean, yeah, Tony, it was he kind of had to go.
When they showed that, I was thinking, no, they can't kill him, but I kind of wanted them to.
It worked. Like, for the character arc, it worked.
As morbid as it is to say, I think it was time for Tony Stark to die. He sacrificed everything for this story.
He had that strong hero, I am Iron Man. Like,
oh, God, that line was awesome.
That was such a good moment. And then you have Cap, who actually got to go back and have... Like, I saw people online talking about, like, what if this movie ended with just him looking at Peggy saying, I'm ready for that dance now, and then black, cut to credits. And I was like, if that's the ending they give Cap, that's going to be so awesome.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much the ending they gave Cap.
Yeah, they gave him that life.
Yeah.
He talked in an earlier movie about, basically about, the life I wanted to have. The man who went in the ice 70 years ago wanted that life. And it was actually at the Age of Ultron.
I'm going to start crying again.
Where he's like, I'm here now, this is my home now, like, and then they brought it back. That was, man, that's just a fitting end to all these characters. Other characters, though, Thor and Hulk.
So Thor is now an Asgardian of the galaxy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
/ Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
That was dumb, I thought, a little. Like, it was cool, but it was like, okay, like, you need to work out or something. Find some time to lift some weights. Like...
Yeah, you know what? If Thor can get that out of shape, there's hope for me yet. So,
I think it's interesting though, because that kind of sets up, like, we know there's going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy movie just from hearing the news and everything. Is Thor going to be a part of that now? Because we thought, the main characters were kind of done.
Yeah.
Including Thor, but it looks like he's maybe at least going to be around for one Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah, possibly.
That's interesting.
He'll always be like that character that they need to, like, oh, we're gonna lose. Oh, there's Thor.
We're good.
Yeah, we're fine.
Like
y'all are screwed down. Yeah.
Divine intervention for the rest of Marvel Universe.
Yeah, and then what they did with Hulk is what I've been waiting for like this entire series of movies. Finally, like, a Hulk who's actually smart, can talk, and it is still Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that happened in the comics at certain points, and so it was like, oh, you kind of jumped into that. Like, all right, well.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it was. I thought that was an interesting direction to take that character too, and I'm just kind of glad they did that because that's what I've been wanting.
So the overall story of this, I mean, like we were saying, the beginning of this movie is kind of just fixing everything that happens in Infinity War.
Yeah.
We got the whole time heist going after the Infinity Stones, bring everything back to where it should be. But then we launch in this last hour or so of this movie into this most epic, like, Lord of the Rings almost level battle.
Yeah.
In which, like, massive portals open, and everybody involved with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for the most part, all comes out and fights in this battle.
All of Wakanda, all of the wizards,
yeah,
all of the Asgardians. You have including Valkyrie and you have who else? You have so many. I can't even remember everybody. Like it was. Man,
so cool.
I've never cheered so hard in a movie during that time.
Yeah.
I feel like you cheered pretty hard too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm losing my voice. One, because, I mean, I was also cheering for this movie. Also, the fact that it's really late and I'm tired. So.
It's worth it, though.
Oh, most definitely. So, yeah, a lot of these characters came out. There were, like, a lot of good nods.
For sure.
And stuff. Not only to, like, say, like, the actual source material, but to the previous movies. I think they did a fantastic job of nodding to some of these. And there were characters that we weren't... Kind of like Infinity War. We weren't expecting Red Skull to show up on Vormir.
Yeah.
It's a big surprise.
So there were some characters in this that also at the same time we weren't expecting to see.
Yeah.
Like the Ancient One popped up. Tilda Swinton's character from Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
What?
And she had like a whole like solid scene, like a whole like bunch of dialogue, and then like
it was actually a very meaningful scene.
It really was.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah, and then like just her knowing that Doctor Strange did what he did for a reason, and she just got it.
Oh, I like that line. She's like, "Yeah, Stephen Strange isn't going to be here for like another 5 years." Like, you're 5 years too early for Stephen Strange. Like, she already knew that Stephen Strange was eventually going to be the holder of the Time Stone, Eye of Agamotto.
Which really, if you go back and watch Doctor Strange now, I bet that opens up a whole lot of things to think about in that movie.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what was that point where she said, I made a mistake? Like it was like Strange gave the stone willingly to Thanos, and it was like, oh, did he make a mistake? And he was like, no, I did.
I believe that was in reference to like her saying no to Hulk at that point.
Yeah. But at first she was like, I don't care how big, how bad, you need this stone, I'm still not giving it up.
Gotcha, okay. It wasn't some like super huge story arc thing that I've missed somewhere?
No, I think it's that movie.
Not unless we're completely wrong about that, and if we are, let us know down in the comments.
Someone
I would like to know.
Which you do all the time. I've read the comments.
So, I mean, yeah, on that same thought, like, you got Thor's mom is back in it. Even Natalie Portman... He's out. Even Natalie Portman had a scene in there, which is not what I was expecting at all, based on real-life talks. Like, she just was done.
Yeah, Natalie Portman was not a fan of her time spent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
So the fact that she came back, even for just a small cameo, was impressive.
Yeah.
For sure.
There was just so many. The one, obviously, there's the one cameo you got to talk about whenever you're talking about a Marvel movie.
The Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah.
I like this one because this was when they went back to the 70s. You saw his car with the bumper sticker that said "Enough said."
Yeah.
I saw that and I'm like, here it goes.
Yep, here it
and
is.
then sure enough, they show Stan Lee driving this car. The thing I liked about them is, out of all the Marvel movies they've been doing so far, they've really fine-tuned their ability to make these people, these actors, younger.
Yeah.
And they did that to Stan Lee. Like, that was the way Stan Lee looked during the 70s, and it was fantastic. They did a phenomenal job on that, and I think it was really good, especially given the fact that now Stan Lee has passed away. I think it was a really good tribute to him.
Oh, yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I mean, we've got a chance. I think he might have a cameo in Spider-Man Far From Home.
That might be his last one.
Yeah. And if he does, that's going to be his last one. If not, this could have been potentially his last actual cameo.
Oh, wow.
And that's a good one to go out on.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think they're doing right by him in a lot of ways, both in the cameo and just how they've treated this entire property all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other things, I mean, you can touch on a little bit of this. There's just some really nerdy stuff in there that is just great. So much fan service in this movie.
There was the part where they're all scrambling for the wannabe Infinity Gauntlet that Tony Stark made using Iron Man glove gauntlet, whatever.
Yeah.
They're all scrambling for that. And at one part, and I'm like gonna super paraphrase and shorten it, but it basically looked like at one point Nebula picked it up like, nope, and then kind of quickly got rid of it. If you're familiar with the Infinity Gauntlet storyline from the comics, that's actually a major turning point in that story, is she does manage to get the gauntlet away from Thanos, and she takes over its power, resets everything, brings everything back to normal before the actual end of the storyline. So it was kind of a nice nod seeing that Nebula was like, no.
I was really curious as to how they're gonna handle, like how was Thanos gonna. You are in it right now,
dude.
He's still feeling it,
dude. The movie was awesome.
Yeah.
How they're gonna end Thanos. Like, who was gonna do the deed? How is he gonna get sent off?
So good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I don't know if I would have liked him to say that line.
I said it out loud in the theater.
Thanos doesn't feel so good.
But you saw, like, when Thanos started, like, dusting off or whatever, when he got snapped away, it was just amazing.
Side note, we'll get back to the nerdy stuff in a minute. This review is all over the place, just bear with us. There is one thing I wanted to mention about Thanos. It's that they took him from a villain who had a deep storyline, like, okay, you could actually side with him, like, I understand his point of view.
Yeah.
And in this movie,
straight up villained him.
Yeah, they just straight up villained him, and you accepted it because you got to know him as the villain, and now you know him actually as a real villain. Like, forget you guys. I'm just gonna destroy Earth. We're done.
Yeah, he was an unstoppable force, and there's a lot of like that in like old epic poems and like mythoses of just like the ultimate entity of evil. And so the comics kind of touch on a lot of his motives, and I think the original or the last time it was introduced, it talked a lot about that. But this one he was like, oh, my original motives weren't good enough. I'll just destroy everything then. Yeah, and it was like, okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch upon that too, so I mean, good bringing that up. Yeah, they did a fantastic job with Thanos. Like, a lot of people were bragging about Thanos after Infinity War, how good of a character he was. The fact that Thanos, at the time before Infinity War really came out, he was really just known amongst the comic book geeks. He wasn't a major villain. Now he is up there as one of the biggest, baddest, worst villains of all fiction.
He's a household name now.
Yeah, everyone knows who Thanos is. And that they straight up made him a super villain.
Yeah.
Fantastic job.
Especially since, like, he was essentially depowered. Like, he didn't have the Infinity Gauntlet through most of that
through
fight.
hands.
And he was just boss. He was the boss level of a fight.
Yeah. So absolutely love Thanos. Josh Brolin did a phenomenal job on him again.
He did.
So motion capture, the CGI on him, everything was just top notch, perfect. I don't know. Going back to the epicness of it, though, the one key moment that caused me to probably really lose my voice, and for all movie nerds across the world to just completely lose their whatever over, is, again, back when everybody was coming out of the portals, and the camera quickly flowed through, like, all the heroes who were joining the fight all of a sudden that were back from the snapshire.
Yeah.
The decimation.
And you know it's going to happen.
It has to.
You're like, it has to happen. This is the biggest, most epic movie.
They have 3 movies that they didn't do it yet.
Yeah.
And the camera just pans into Captain America. And I know...
What were you doing in the theater?
I was yelling.
Yeah.
Because it was just a phenomenal... Me and him were both at the same time like, say it. You're gonna say it. You have to say it. And then sure enough, he's like, Avengers... Assemble.
Oh, I'm seeing this movie again.
Just the overwhelming, just the battle cry, the famous saying from the comics, that was a whole bunch of emotions. Which brings into that is this movie really did run the gamut of emotions that a person can feel.
Wow.
During that battle, I mean, I felt the adrenaline going, just sitting in a seat in a dark theater.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, pumped, you're awake. No matter how tired you were completely focused on this movie.
Yeah.
And you went from that epic battle to, say, like the ending, when we have to say bye to Tony Stark, everyone's crying.
Yeah.
Still crying.
Still crying.
Yeah.
And you felt all of that.
Yeah.
Like, you could be the most cold-hearted person, like, just dead inside, and you still felt something from that. It's a testament to the storytelling. Not only the story itself, but also what the Russo brothers were able to bring onto that screen.
Yeah.
Because imagine, again, they've been having practice at the MCU since the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Going through Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and now Endgame. Just, these guys know how to tell a story, and they've done it epically so. And I'm definitely seeing awards come Oscar season.
It's gotta get something. It's gotta get something for sure. I mean, going into this movie, like, one of the things, like, I knew that I wanted to see, and I said this to you before we actually saw the movie, was in each of the Avengers movies, basically, there's been, like, that iconic epic shot. First Avengers movie, you had them, the circle up scene. They even showed it in this movie
again. Yeah, it's cool.
Age of Ultron, you had two. You had
Age of Ultron was them going into the battle from the side.
You had at the beginning when they're storming the Hydra base and they all do that jumping leap, and then at the end when all of them are together guarding the church, fighting off the Ultron bots. Yeah, those. There really wasn't one in Infinity War. I mean, you had that running shot in the trailer, but that didn't happen in the movie at all.
And I think that was done on purpose because Infinity War, they were purposely scattering the characters just to show like how torn apart the story is getting.
Yeah. And it wasn't epic or picturesque, and it was like, oh, they lost. Oh, they're all dead. And it was like, oh.
And that really was the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU.
Yeah.
Just the big
all
epic level losing.
Yeah. But this movie, the epic shot wasn't just one shot. It was those portals opening up. You had Black Panther coming through first, and then everyone else started pouring through.
That, he just walked like, what up?
Yeah.
Like, let's get it going.
Back, y'all got another movie coming.
Yeah,
you thought it was gone? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Disney wants to make that Black Panther money, let's say.
They do.
I'm going to be back. Here's Shuri, too. Remember her? Yeah. She's going to be in that also. So...
I mean, did we miss something? I'm sure we missed something. There's just so much to go in on.
Well, Aaron, we brought you in for this exact reason.
Yeah.
Anything else that you may have noticed that we haven't quite covered in the grand scale of this movie yet?
One of the coolest parts was in the elevator when they went back in time and they're like, "Hey, we need to get the briefcase from you."
Yes.
And the secret cell Hydra agent's like, "No." And Steve's like, no, come here real quick. He's like, Hail Hydra. And that was such a callback to the comics when, like, the whole story arc Captain America was actually he was a Hydra agent.
Nice little
and
nod.
That really bad storyline.
That made everyone mad. Like that,
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, how can we not really retcon that, but like nod to that, but also make it funny? And so he kind of had that smile. He's like, yeah, Hail Hydra, sweet, see you later, dude. And then like he just walked off.
I think that was one of the few moments where the entire theater just erupted in cheers at the same time.
It was like, yeah.
Because I know
yes.
we were sitting there waiting for him to go, so before we get this started, does anybody want to get off the elevator? Kind of like the nod back to the Winter Soldier scene. Yeah.
No, the whole Hail Hydra, like that, oh man, there's just so many good moments in this movie.
And that's still, hearkening back to some of these previous movies, brings in like all the other cameos, like that one they did bring back in Brock Rumlow from Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
They brought back in Agent Jasper Sitwell for that cameo as well. There was even a cameo at one point. They went back to the 70s and Tony Stark was basically talking to his father.
Yeah.
His father gets in the car and the driver was Jarvis from the Agent Carter TV show. Yeah. Like, so they even nodded to that. I mean, now granted, after I saw that, my first thought was like, okay, are we going to see a nod or something about, like, say, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist? Because that would have been the icing on the cake. I understand why they didn't, though.
The problem here is that they did that, but I'm still missing two characters. Where's Maria Hill and Phil Coulson?
Yeah.
Well, they can't be perfect, I guess.
Well, they show Maria Hill at the end, but yeah, like Phil Coulson wasn't in there. They didn't do any kind of nods to the actual Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which I understand. Like, to be honest, like, just from that epic battle, there was so much in just the movies alone that they had to put in there. There's no way that they can just tie in everything, including those TV shows.
So, I mean, running through the other cameos real quick. Rescue, so Pepper Potts as Rescue. there was the whole Falcon taking over the mantle of Captain America like he does in the comics.
I didn't cry. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Yeah, still crying.
Yeah, sure.
It's okay.
The other one I liked was during the Tony Stark.
You can be a man and cry at this.
You're
it's
right.
fine.
I'm a superhero.
During the Tony Stark funeral, as the camera was panning back, you saw there was like one random dude, and you're like, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
Who's that kid?
Like, who's that kid? That was Harley from Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
The kid that helped out Tony Stark in, I think it was Tennessee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in there, like, standing just by himself at the funeral as well. That was amazing, the fact they got him back.
Yeah.
And he had grown since that movie, and I think he was also in Jurassic World. He had grown from that, and, like, he was completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
We had to look that up when we got...
He had a growth spurt.
Yeah.
There's just so much that can be said about this movie, though. I mean, it was 3 hours worth of I'm gonna go see it again.
Yeah. And I feel like we need to go see it again.
Yeah.
I probably am. One of my other favorite parts that I did remember was like when he said like we kind of touched on it, but like I am Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a callback to like the press conference and to when like the whole like trying to get the heroes to reveal their identities, and it was like he said the same thing he said for years in other movies, but this time it was like a different meaning. It was like, no, I'm not just like not doing this as a duty. I'm doing this as like my life. And,
Yeah.
like, this is like my calling, my passion, my meaning. Like, and it was a whole like everything went full circle.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when he said that, though, we really needed the punch of like the Black Sabbath song behind him.
No.
That would have been a little too on the nose.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, we could spend all night talking about this, but we all gotta get to bed. It's super late. I don't know why I'm looking at my arm. There's nothing here. We gotta give this thing a rating, though. We want to do a nice little tribute here. Usually we pick something random from the movie. I'm gonna say let's rate this out of some Stan Lees.
Yeah, so out of like, say, 5 Stan Lees at most, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. I would say I'm going to rate this 5 Stan Lees. I mean, I rated Infinity War 5, so...
Yeah.
6 Stan Lees.
Okay.
I'm gonna take it up a notch. 10. Excelsior.
Out of 5.
Out of 5, it's a 10.
Someone needs to learn how to do fractions.
You know what? It's okay. We want to thank you guys for joining us on this review. If you watched it all the way through, fantastic. We really love having you here. But yeah, let us know down below. What did you think of this movie?
What'd you think of this review? Do you think we hit everything? What stuff did we miss? Again, let us know down below. Also, hit like if you like this video. Hit dislike if you just absolutely hate the Avengers altogether.
You want to get snapped.
Yeah. Up above our heads, there is a subscribe button over here off to the side, or a couple other videos that we have done. And as always,
subscribe to PewDiePie.
Yeah, later.
See ya. We're doing our part, whatever it takes.
Movie review.